Hello and welcome to our presentation. I'm Jill Leafstead and I am joined by Megan Eberhardt-Allstadt from Cal State University Channel Islands. Our presentation is titled A Turn Towards Learning. What does it take to turn a university towards learning? I'll start by talking a little bit about what we mean by a turn towards learning. In short, we're talking about an institutional mind shift, a systematic belief that the advancement of student learning should be central to the mission of the university. This turn will be the result of faculty and non-faculty educators working collaboratively to discover new and effective ways to design learning experiences informed by learning science. These partnerships will allow campus to discover innovations in learning that address evolving needs and realities of college students and higher education in general. So you might be thinking, is an institutional commitment to learning really innovative? Isn't learning simply the business of higher education? Yes, but the learning canvas has changed. Given continuous advancement in instructional technology, option for on-ground and online courses, and the access to higher education, such advancements afford the business of learning spans physical, digital, cultural, and socioeconomic landscapes not previously realized. Those that we used to refer to as non-traditional learners are filling our rosters and have become the new traditional student. To meet these changes, how we design, deliver, and engage students in learning experiences needs to change astronomically. To do so, we must rethink our traditional higher education structures and approaches to learning. So who is responsible for innovating learning? The expectation that faculty can and should independently gain technological and pedagogical expertise on top of their discipline-specific expertise to singularly innovate learning is simply unrealistic. If we want to address this disconnect, we must look at our structures, processes, and areas of expertise to discover ways to innovate and address the needs of our learners. In other words, we must involve more people. At CSUCI, we've been working for several years to close equity and achievement gaps by increasing access to higher education. We have been nudging our campus towards a model of learning innovation for years, consciously selecting projects that would support the development of partnerships between learning professionals and faculty. Throughout our projects and programming, we've emphasized a student-centered approach to course design and instructional decision-making. We know intuitively, and research affirms, the significant role instructors play in student success. Our campus is representative of many mid-sized public institutions. We're serving a population of students that are looking to higher education to change their family trees. They're looking for pathways to a more successful, comfortable future. CSUCI is a Hispanic-serving institution serving a largely low-income population of learners from within California. Our turn towards learning at CSUCI began before COVID, but it has recently been heavily influenced by our last 6 months of virtual operations.
Back in 2019, when we wrote our proposal for this presentation, we thought we would be talking about incremental change and the challenging process of nudging a campus towards the idea of learning innovation and the involvement of learning designers in the educational process. Pre-COVID, our campus was developing a learning design team and tinkering around the edges of true transformation. We were carefully selecting projects that would help our campus understand how learning design could move us towards our goals. Specifically goals for closing equity gaps and moving students towards a timely graduation. So instead of telling you our proposed original story, we would like to tell you our story of surviving and thriving to date during COVID. This is a story of partnerships between a staff of learning professionals, faculty, and administration. Our turn towards empathy began long before COVID-19. Based on what we learned from our online preparation program. Building empathy and humanizing learning was a common theme throughout our work. As we entered a new normal and went completely virtual, we knew that faculty would be the primary means by which students would feel connected to a campus, find space for community and interaction with peers, believe their school cared about their physical and academic well-being, and build the trust and confidence to take the risks necessary for learning to occur. The recognition that a turn toward learning began with empathy was only strengthened as we navigated a virtual campus. Equity through empathy has always led our thinking. Like all of higher education, when COVID came, we were turned upside down and thrust into the middle of a crisis. We were asked to move an entire campus online. We'd been actively nudging to increase online options, but a fully virtual campus was not exactly what we'd had in mind. Overnight, nudging gave way to leading. Of course, there were many others involved in this effort, but our team was at the center. Every previous project our team had navigated prepared us with the personal communication structure and positioning to manage the gauntlet ahead. We were able to capitalize on the structure put into place long before COVID. We were given the resources needed from the top of our campus leadership, and even more importantly, we were given trust and a clear message from our president. Faculty time is important, and she was willing to put money towards their learning. But we needed to be able to show her what they learned, and not a part of their learning needed to be tied to teaching with an equity mindset. So our program objectives began with E: equity, empathy, and engagement. We built from the knowledge we had and the research that existed. We knew this was our opportunity to turn from nudging to leading. We were going to be able to prepare faculty en masse to develop online learning experiences for their students, guided by an understanding that equity in education began with empathetic facilitation. Our experience nudging better prepared us than we realized to lead, guide, collaborate, and support our campus.
We had been given our charge: prepare faculty for a mostly virtual fall. Now we had to figure out how to reach the masses instead of a select few. We began by thinking about the strengths and needs of our faculty. Some had excellent pedagogy skills and horrible technical skills, while others had not such great pedagogical skills and pretty wonderful technical skills. We realized we needed an entry point for faculty that fell anywhere along these lines. But we also realized that life was complicated. Boy, was spring 2020 complicated. Faculty needed support through collaboration and community, but not all faculty needed support through collaboration, nor did they all have time for these regular connections. So our model needed to run from independent to fully collaborative as well. After we had our model figured out, we needed to build our team. We started with our own small but mighty Teaching and Learning Innovations team of 5 and began recruiting more support. We needed to enhance our learning design team of 1 by bringing in a faculty member with design experience. We also hired an outside consultant. We then recruited 13 faculty to help design the courses that would be part of our program or to run the much needed professional learning communities. Once we had the team in place, we began to move from surviving to thriving. So what resulted from our work was called CSUCI Thrive. It was a program consisting of multiple pathways and entry points for faculty. We had courses ranging from foundations of online learning to equity in action. We had optional professional learning communities, weekly office hours, and weekly webinars. The overall goals were to guide faculty through the development of online courses that were easy to navigate, welcoming, and provided time and space for community. Most importantly, we needed to provide faculty with an understanding of how to get to know their students in an online environment. To build empathy and understanding, we knew they had to understand their students' unique and common experiences navigating higher education during COVID. We depended on the faculty to bring the content knowledge while we brought the technical, pedagogical, and design knowledge. We used faculty and non-faculty educator partnerships to move us forward. Thrive gave faculty the opportunity to literally sit in the seat of an online learner, navigate a strategically designed learning environment, and engage with course facilitators, peers, and content. As we all learned more about learning and design, faculty provided rich feedback, positive and constructive, that had informed the practice of our learning professionals. Learning professionals adjusted and iterated content and opportunities based on faculty discussion forums and assignment submissions. The barrier between faculty and learning professionals blurred. We were truly a virtual community of practice.
Were we successful? Well, we had 275 faculty register, with 227 faculty successfully completing the program. When asked about their overall experience as a participant in Thrive, 28% rated it as good, with 67% rating their experience as excellent, with all program completers reporting that they felt prepared or very prepared to teach online in the fall as a result of Thrive. We recognize there is still much work to be done, but we are encouraged by the feedback we've received and the connections that have been ignited. Our campus, like so many others, have many new challenges to navigate as we turn toward the future. But we hope that whatever lies ahead, we will continue to make a collective turn toward learning.
Hello, my name is Leslie Abel, and I teach in the sociology program here at CSU Channel Islands. Participating in Thrive over the summer impacted my thoughts about virtual course design and learning in two main ways. The first is that I got a crash course in what it was like to be a learner again, particularly in an online setting. I was really overwhelmed by all of the resources that I was being provided and how much I didn't know or needed to refresh. It really made me more selective in how I designed my course and in the technology that I used. Hitting those bumps along the road as a virtual learner in Thrive really made me particular about the fonts that I used, whether I wanted to use tabs in those pages, and made me selective in the technology that I used as well. I wanted to think about, how often I was making them use technology, and were they only going to be using a particular tool once? And if so, get rid of it. Does the technology really do what I want it to do? And if it doesn't, then trying not to shoehorn or force it into the course.
Hi, my name is Stacey Anderson. I teach English at Cal State Channel Islands. And for me, Thrive was really great in keeping me connected to a community of learners. I actually facilitated a professional learning community of other faculty from different disciplines. And we've stayed connected during the semester. We have chats every week just to check in, and there's always a good amount of laughter and sort of just admission of, wow, this is a lot. And it's been great to connect with folks in that way.
My name is Sean Anderson. I'm the chair of the Environmental Science and Resource Management program at CSUCI. I would say the most useful thing of Thrive, which was very, very useful, the most useful thing was simply the community I was with. I did not think it would have been anywhere near as impactful or helpful if I was doing it on my own, sort of on my own time. The community of my learning group was really, really helpful to bounce ideas off of, to commiserate, to get different perspectives and ideas. That was fantastic. I should say that Thrive is great in a whole lot of things about thinking about empathy and student perspectives and all this and that.
I think the most important thing I learned was that I wasn't alone in my learning. It was a very supported experience, and I consider myself an intermediate learner. There were basic things that I didn't know that I could still expand on, and having the hands-on and having the different assignments that we were given each week really helped me move forward, grow out of my comfort zone. And I also found a community of teachers like me that wanted to improve, that wanted to get better. And obviously, the guidance that we received was incredible. Everybody was available when they say they were going to be available, and even beyond those times. So I'm extremely grateful of the opportunity to be part of this program, because it really gave me everything that I expected and more.